Okay, we've got the audio. We're good to go. So we are on coinmarketcap.com, our favorite website on this channel. And if you look at the BTC dominance right off the bat, you see that no money has been moving out of Bitcoin despite it passing the 10,000 US dollar mark. More money has actually moved into Bitcoin from other altcoins. And actually, it seems like more money has moved into cryptocurrencies in general. So the fact that Bitcoin passed $10,000 made a whole new wave of people afraid of missing out to join and be a part of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin community, which is very amazing. We have a couple new markets or exchanges. They're popping up like flies or maggots, and a couple new cryptocurrencies. So we're sitting at 1,326 cryptocurrencies, but one of those cryptocurrencies holds more than 55% of all the value of cryptocurrencies. So that one being Bitcoin. And there are plans to maybe replace that with Bitcoin Cash, although the whole community kind of has to go along with it. And there are some huge efforts to make that happen. But Ethereum, $500. All-time high, or looks like we had, actually no. So Ethereum is at a good time to buy still because it was a little bit higher, and now it's at a little dip. So as well as Ripple, it's on a small dip, not much. Still a pretty strong price for Ripple. And then Dash, obviously, that's an insane price. Look at this chart. Whew, straight up, just like Bitcoin. Dash, I've been a believer in Dash ever since it hit $100 and blew my mind, and I had to look into it and start holding it. IOTA, we see that this Tangle network is one of a kind here and is drawing a lot of attention. And there's actually a story in the news. I don't know if we're going to be covering it in depth, but basically speaking about all these companies partnering with IOTA, so that, actually, I can find it for us here. IOTA. So IOTA partners with Microsoft, Fujitsu, and others for Internet of Things data monetization. And ding, ding, ding. Maybe that clicks something. Maybe that's why IOTA has their name. Internet of Things. IOTA. I guess we'll have to find out where the A comes from still. So yesterday, IOTA announced a major platform release allowing data monetization using micropayments through their distributed ledger technology. And it's not a blockchain, it's actually Tangle. So a new method of doing this that has many different branches and it's more efficient. So it's more realistic to be using in things like data. So the goal is to enable a combination of business-to-business data economy, as well as enabling researchers and hobbyists to participate. So is IOTA actually going to be the tool to sell our data? I do think and believe IOTA has plans to be a currency traded between robots and artificial intelligence. So when they need to be rewarded for a task, they're paid in IOTA. So it makes sense for data to be bought with IOTA as well. So some very interesting things going on with IOTA. And you're going to see some of these companies pop up. We heard that there's more money put into ICOs this year than put into things like artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and stuff like that. So maybe we see that these big players are putting their efforts onto the blockchain, and they realize the benefits of that. So I think we're going to see a lot of these, big players moving into the blockchain. Not necessarily just people that are trying to decentralize the world, but we're going to see these big ideas and players move on to the blockchain. And I think IOTA is going to be one of those big players. So we're just checking the market cap real quick. And we're not going to go into much depth other than that because we do have a couple things to cover here. So Bitcoin's hit around 11,500. So it's very important to keep them safe. We'll talk about that. Next level Fomo activated. We'll talk about why and some proof that people are now moving into Bitcoin more now as fear of missing out after it hit $10,000. And we kind of went over some of that proof there already. We'll go over this story of Ether being sent to the moon, literally. And you'll have to wait and see what that's all about. Then we have Charlie Lee trying to save us all. So he's investigating Tether because if this whole Tether thing falls apart, it could be like another Mt. Gox and basically crash the price of Bitcoin, and we could all lose if Tether does not pull through this and do a good job at maintaining their company. Things could unravel and fall apart very easily because of some things, and we'll go into that in depth in a minute. We'll also talk about exponential growth and what it means and how we can tell that Bitcoin is growing exponentially and what that may bring for price predictions in 2018. So look at this volume, $10 billion in the past 24 hours. There's a lot of Bitcoin. There's a lot of traders actively trading Bitcoin right now. The price sitting at 11,200, around there, and we have a circulating supply of not very many, only 16 million Bitcoin. So this is helping contribute to the high price. And if you see Byteball Bytes also has a very low circulating supply, and Byteball Bytes is very cheap. Actually, no, Byteball Bytes is not very cheap. I thought it was $178, and that would be very cheap, and I'd buy some for sure. I think I'm still going to buy a very small amount of this and try to dollar cost average Byteball Bytes. And you see, these are all our small circulating supply coins, and it helps to have their prices in the $100. All these coins in the top here are above $100 because of their low circulating supply, so keep your eye on that. And then we have very high circulating supplies down here: Bytecoin, Ripple, Dogecoin, Sia Coin, Stellar Lumens, things like that, NEM. Okay, so moving on. We have this article here about CryptoBridge. and how they are using a new funding model with no ICO. So what they're doing is basically creating their coin and then launching their coin, Bridge Coin, to help fund their project, which is a decentralized exchange owned by Bridge Coin holders, and they need to get a lot of money together so they can pay for developers. And how they're doing this is with just launching Bridge Coin on exchanges and actually not letting you pre-buy them. So they're doing this partially because it is illegal some places, especially in the United States, to have an ICO. So they were pre-mining, and I think they switched to staking after a certain point. Even though we are a decentralized exchange, we thought it would be prudent to get legal advice. And then they say, since the latest SEC publication, it is certain that any token sale or ICO that promises future returns can be considered illegal in the US. Though we are not from the US, we would still like to stay legal under most jurisdictions, and public mineable cryptocurrency is exempt from such regulations. So companies that are just going ahead with these ICOs, they're taking risks, and you investing in them, you are taking a risk, especially if they're out of the United States. So keep that in mind. So this is basically like Binance Coin, KuCoin, where you get 50% of the fees on exchanges, and you can do that in the beginning just by staking the coins, because I don't think they have their exchange yet. This is Bridge Coin here on CoinMarketCap. We can check out which exchanges it's on. So it's on Crypto Bridge. So I guess they do have their exchange open now, and it's on Nova Exchange. So this would, this is Crypto Bridge here. So Crypto Bridge has only these currencies right now. So they're in the early stages, and I guess just releasing this currency so they can fund the next stages. We can real quickly Bridge Exchange. See if we can find this. Is it Bridge Exchange? Crypto Bridge. Okay, Crypto Bridge. And so this is a new model for exchanges. Once exchanges start doing this, it's kind of going to be the new way of doing things, and exchanges are going to be expected to share their fees with users, which I think is great. I think it should be a standard that all companies share their profits with their users. So you can download their exchange here. Maybe it isn't even it looks like it's not even an online exchange, which is amazing. So kind of like Exodus, but you get some of the fees. Okay, moving on to keeping your Bitcoin safe. So I had this conversation yesterday with my father. He gave me some money to put into Bitcoin, which was a huge accomplishment to convince him that he's the cheapest guy I know and the most stubborn person I know. But he saw something, and I give him credit for that. I give him credit for seeing through all the drama. So I told him yesterday, now that Bitcoin's $10,000, I'm going to make sure it's more secure. So put it on my external wallets, take it off exchanges, put it onto at least Exodus wallet or an offline wallet, paper wallet, things like that. We'll do a video about that, but we'll also help you with sharing links so that you can get some of these wallets or share links to articles where they talk about getting safer, more secure wallets. But this is an article talking about how hackers want in on Bitcoin action and want your Bitcoin, as well as everybody wants your Bitcoin right now. And anybody that's talking bad about Bitcoin and wants it to fail, it's because they want Bitcoin too. And they feel jealous, envious, that kind of thing. Whenever you hate something, it's always because you're jealous of it. A lot of people can't admit that, but it's true. So it's hardly surprising that criminals are looking to get in on cryptocurrency action as Bitcoin price surged past the $10,000 mark late on Monday. Cyber criminals, hackers, internet pirates, call them what you want, are scoring the internet in search of easy targets as the world wakes up to the success of Bitcoin and its altcoin successors. According to the American SANS Technology Institute online forum, a cybersecurity expert software has identified bots trying to piggyback off various information systems to find unsecured cryptocurrency wallets around the world. And I just installed a couple Google Chrome add-ons to help secure myself and stop people from tracking and trying to get my data, because you can also download Brave browser, and this does this as well. We did a review about this last night on our live stream, and Brave browser also enables you to receive basic attention tokens if you're a YouTube creator, or donate or pay your YouTube creators with BAT token. So right here it's saying blocks ads and trackers, and also it saves you a lot of money every month and year because of all the data you save from all these downloads that you're not downloading, and that are all this data that's being used from these people tracking you and downloading things from you or downloading things to your computer. So I definitely am going to get this browser myself. It's kind of like the new version of Firefox, decentralized. So it's showing you here how much faster, showing you here how much money each website costs you on average. So New York Post costs about cost to download ads and tracking would be about 9 cents. Cost for content about 17 cents. Boston.com 32 cents. It costs you just to go on that website for extra data that you're paying for. And even if you're paying for unlimited data, it still helps you save a lot of time. So average a couple hours each year, and also helps you avoid infections and have people track you and get info from you. Also, don't keep any private keys and stuff like that on your computer, or even backup links and emails, because as we read this article, we see that this is what they're targeting. So they say that hackers are using software that scans computers for files containing wallet information, which allows cyber criminals to access and steal funds in online wallets. I've seen a couple such requests a couple years ago, but it's the first time I see that many. The first time I observed this was late in 2013, in the middle of the first Bitcoin price rally, the first bubble, really. So these are the files that I observed requests to my web browser to retrieve Bitcoin wallet files. So the files they are looking for are these files here, and they all have to do with wallets. So if you have something saved on your computer called wallet zip, that's what they're looking for. Wallet backup, that's what they're looking for. So if you have that on there, most likely that these things are going to find you. And it's pretty easy. All they have to do is track everybody that's on Coinbase, that's visited Exodus, that's visited my Ether wallet, that's visited some Bitcoin news sites. They just target those people. It's very easy to find that you're a Bitcoin user, or at least interested in Bitcoin. So yeah, Ethereum wallet clients were also being targeted, according to RT. So this is kind of the job of someone that owns or runs an antivirus service, firewall service. Their job is to see who's trying to get in and who's trying to track you and release that information. So I wouldn't be surprised if many other people start saying, yep, we're seeing this as well. So next is the FOMO, Bitcoin and the fear of missing out. Everyone from the Uber driver to the hedge fund manager appears to be afraid of missing out on the Bitcoin bubble. My dad told me that in his town where he lives, the local taxi driver sold his taxi company, invested in blockchain. He's asking me if I knew what blockchain was, and so I explained it to him. But this is happening, all around us. People are getting in. It's no longer just a couple people underground. So that's about the only real takeaway we have from the latest symbolic milestone from the granddaddy of cryptocurrencies. Its price in dollars has multiplied tenfold this year, without any of its flaws as a method of payment being fixed convincingly. Transactions are still costly and slow. Actually, I sent a Bitcoin transaction and a Bitcoin Cash transaction yesterday. The Bitcoin Cash transaction took way longer. I thought it wasn't coming. A big round number. Bitcoin is up 50% in 1 month, without any discernible improvements in its flaws. Wall Street investors and the average punter are desperate to ride a boom that is openly touted and unsustainable even by its cheerleaders. At this sophisticated end of the market, the Bitcoin Investment Trust, a way to profit from the cryptocurrency without holding it, has reached 62% premium to net asset value. The shares have jumped 50% in 3 days. Holy shit! At the consumer end, account openings are in the 6 figures. Google searches for Bitcoin loan or Bitcoin credit are rising. Institutions taking a punt. The 1.7 billion grayscale open-ended Bitcoin Investment Trust has doubled in value in 1 month. So we shared on our Twitter page this video, 3 stocks that will fuel the Bitcoin revolution. And it's a great video I suggest you watch or share to anybody that doesn't understand Bitcoin. It's from the point of view of someone that is been researching Bitcoin but not necessarily bought any yet or into it, so they have no bias, and it's just pure information, and it's very compressed into a few minutes. And I like this one slide here where he's showing you financial service firms and that invest in early blockchain. So look at all these big companies, Fortune 500 companies that are investing in blockchain. And he goes on and on explaining this.
Money, guys. A lot of people may not trust the smart money, they may not like it, but trust me, they know what they're doing, they know what their clients doing, they have access to the government, they know what regulations are coming down, and all these guys that I just mentioned on those slides are investing in blockchain technology right now. Talking about MasterCard, Wells Fargo.
So yeah, fear of missing out. Even the big companies have a fear of missing out. So guys, this is not it's not some crazy guy in his basement anymore. That is the real biggest accomplishment we have had with Bitcoin, is we have brought it to mainstream. We have made the most epic marketing basically program for Bitcoin, and it succeeded drastically. The whole world has heard about Bitcoin now, and that's something that is very hard to do. Have every person, every household know this name. It's kind of like Facebook. And also that stock investor guy mentions, if you would have told someone about Facebook a couple of years before it was ever created, that 25% of the world's population will be on a website at all times, giving all their personal data out for free, you would never believe it. And that it has trillions of dollars of valuation. Well, Bitcoin's not far off from that. So, it's very understandable why people have a fear of missing out. They should have a fear of missing out, but they should have had the fear a couple years ago if they were smart and aware and had their eyes open. See, this is a problem with all the distractions in life, and that's why I'm glad that I have less distractions in my life, because I see things that are out there when they're out there. So this isn't about investing for the future, but getting rich now. That's what this stock is about. Pretty sad. So basically, obviously, you can't expect anything more from the stock exchange, though. I watched a documentary the other day called The Patent Scam, and I suggest it to anybody that wants an educational documentary, that wants to start a business, a tech company. You need to watch this, because you are going to be a victim of patent trolling. And basically, these patent trolls even trade on the stock exchange, and they're trolling people, basically extorting people, companies, real companies, and they don't even have legit companies. So retiring the obvious and inherent risk in cryptocurrency trading seems a fool's errand. But again, the Bitcoin ecosystem is unregulated and open to abuse. The recent alleged hack of Tether, which briefly knocked Bitcoin's price, has yet to be fully explained. And some worry that speculative trading using these dollar convertible tokens is adding to the froth. Right? Well, maybe it helped the price go up too, that Tether got some of their money hacked. I guess if it was Tether that got stolen, then those remaining Tether would be more valuable to them, meaning that I don't know, maybe that would make the price drop. If you let me know. Is the Tether hack, would that have contributed to the price going up or down? The way I just explained it makes me think it would have, if it did contribute, make it go down a little bit. So I heard that this Tether hack may have been some people that are partnered or conspiring with Roger Ver to attack Bitfinex, because Bitfinex calls Bitcoin Cash Bcash. And if you hear Roger Ver talk, that pisses him off more than anything that you could say. Just the word Bcash, because he's planning on taking over Bitcoin, and when you call it Bcash, there's no chance of him doing that. So there's alleged, an idea out there circulating the forums that maybe this was Roger Ver's doing, but I can't say either way. I have no evidence of that other than the fact that people are mentioning it. But it is something to think about. We will talk about Tether a little bit here. Still, the overall excitement around Bitcoin shows that it has tapped into a speculative urge, one that isn't looking to be reassured by dividends, business plans, cash flows, or use cases. Highlighting a big round number like 10,000 only speaks to our emotional reaction to big round numbers, but it doesn't explain away the risk of this one day falling into the biggest, roundest number of all, 0. And this is a Bloomberg article. So you notice that anytime mainstream media talks about Bitcoin, they always mention the price going down, and this over time changes the way people look at Bitcoin. And this is how mainstream media does it all the time. They just say a certain phrase a certain way when they're talking about something, and it just changes your subconscious mind and how you see it and how you look at it. But it only works on the masses that don't really think for themselves. Now we have our Ethereum story. The first ever Ethereum sweatshirt will be sent to space. We all know the famous expression, Ethereum to the moon. Well, this time around, someone decided to do something similar. The clothing company Presco will send the first ever Ethereum sweater to space. It has been a great year for Ethereum cryptocurrency, and its X55 growth will be celebrated. Very good marketing initiative for them. For this so-called space mission, there was a need to choose a piece of clothing that conveyed an idea of Ethereum, as Ethereum and other cryptocurrency-based t-shirts are already everywhere. The sublimated full-print sweatshirt was chosen, something exciting and unusual, so that any extraterrestrials that come and check out Earth can see what we're all about. And I think it's amazing because it really does explain where we're at as humans and society. Ethereum was a huge shift, paradigm shift. And all these ICOs that are coming out now are because of Ethereum and because of one kid, basically. Who knows? Maybe this kid was from space. The estimated flight time is 2 hours and 30 minutes. The hydrogen-filled balloon will rise up to the sky, surpassing the ozone layer. Come on, they're not using SpaceX? Guess it would cost a bit too much. And try to escape the stratosphere up to 33 kilometers above Earth. As this height, the balloon will explode and start falling down, but the parachute will prevent it from crashing. From a designated launch location, the team will follow the route of the satellite and go straight to the position where the Ethereum sweatshirt will land, which will be up to 300 kilometers from the starting point, depending on the wind. We're hoping it does not end up in a lake, a high tree, or a neighboring country. The launch date is scheduled for the first week of December. A specific date and time will be announced to 2 days before the launch, depending on local weather conditions. Video footage will be released the day after the space mission. The space mission has been confirmed with a granted permission by the CAA Civil Aviation Admission. So you can follow this Twitter for this clothing company and get updates on that. Crowdfund an actual startup, not a white paper. Series A investment through the blockchain. Wow. Pretty cool. So this was maybe a clothing company that was started on the blockchain. Who knows? But being here on Twitter, let's show you something real quick. Something that I'm excited about myself, and you might be as well. So they're not actually sending it into orbit. They're sending it basically up as high as they can send it, and then it's going to come back down. But basically, it is a metaphor for Ethereum. Ethereum has not hit the moon yet. It's hit the sky, in my opinion. So you can follow our Twitter page here for updates and things like that. It's a lot easier and quicker for us to update you through Twitter than making a video. Now that we're doing live streams, it's a lot better, a lot quicker, but it's even quicker to be here on Twitter. So, Bitcoin will be featured on The Big Bang Theory, airing this Thursday. In fact, the entire episode will be based on a Bitcoin storyline. During the episode, the cast finds a laptop that contains Bitcoins. In the show, Howard exclaims, "I can't believe a single Bitcoin is worth $5,000. So they made this when it was $5,000 and releasing it now, and it's $10,000. Can't keep up. Can't keep up. And this is why Bitcoin is not a good currency per se. It is a good store in value, though. I also recently watched, what show was it? Anyways, it also had a little clip in there about Bitcoin. And I'll tweet that one because I did record it. To which Leonard replies, "Didn't we mine some a few years ago?" On Thursday, over 12.6 million viewers will hear about Bitcoin mining and wallets in a comedic fashion. What do you think about The Big Bang Theory doing an entire episode dedicated to Bitcoin? I think it's about time. And they have to with the kind of show they run, you know. They should have done it a long time ago. So now we're moving on to Charlie Lee. Charlie Lee will look into the potential Tether issues. The last thing anyone wants is to see Tether cause another Mt. Gox fiasco, although there are legitimate concerns over this company. Just a little side note as well, Mt. Gox supposedly is launching, the creator of Mt. Gox, or person, the CEO, is now launching supposedly an ICO, and some public outrage on that as well. You can look into that if you're interested. So, although there are legitimate concerns over this company, nothing has been proven yet. Litecoin's Charlie Lee is concerned about this company as well. In fact, he has told the world he will look into this matter more closely. An interesting statement, although it remains to be seen whether or not anything is uncovered. It is unclear what the deal is with Tether these days. The rapid issuance of USDT is a big concern. So basically what happened is they started having issues with banks. Banks no longer wanted to deal with them because it's kind of, they see it as fraud what they're doing, basically printing money. So the banks stopped dealing with them, most of them at least, and Tether was in the news and having a lot of problems at this time. Well, Tether is supposed to produce $1 US backed coin for every dollar that they're given. So they have to be given a dollar and then they issue this dollar on the blockchain. But they were only doing this so fast, and it seemed like they weren't just creating coins until after they started having this banking troubles. And maybe they saw that, you know, the future wasn't so bright for their company anymore. And then we saw that the rate at which they were producing US dollars doubled or tripled. So it's no surprise, and it kind of points towards the direction of that they are printing these tokens without having them backed by US dollars. So if they have the assets in place to warrant this development, there is no reason to be concerned. Right now, no one can verify if that is the case, though. They're supposed to prove this and prove that they have, like, do audits and prove that they have the funds, but they haven't been. Assuming that that is not the case, however, things may unravel very quickly. A new Mt. Gox scenario is not unlikely in this regard. Someone needs to investigate this matter properly in the hopes of finding out the truth. Charlie Lee Untethered. Like, who wouldn't? Given this power, who wouldn't abuse it? Given the power to print money, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if they are abusing it, and I'm glad Charlie Lee is looking into it, because we need someone to. It affects the whole Bitcoin community, because we're all hedging out of USDT right now, in and out of Bitcoin, or most of us. So, you know, at any given time, I have a couple $1,000s in USDT. And if they went under, I think it would show a big crash in Bitcoin, and people would, you know, lose faith. You know, that whole FUD thing. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt would flood the markets. So how things will play out for Tether and Bitfinex remains to be seen. Bitfinex and Tether are basically sister companies. They're owned by a lot of the same people, and they're run kind of together, side by side. And that's why we mentioned Bitfinex listed Bitcoin Cash as Bcash, and then we saw Tether get hacked for $50 million. Could have been because of them calling it Bcash, and that would not surprise me one bit when I see the reaction of Roger Ver when someone calls it Bcash. He gets very angry, very defensive, and it seems like he wants to get you back, like he's just dying to attack you back because he feels attacked when you do that. The community has been waiting for a public audit of both companies. So far, no results have been published. And so I was on Bitfinex for a long time. It's actually the first exchange I was using. And I was on Bitfinex when it got hacked for, I think it was $50 million. Same type of deal. And the thing is, they took money then from their users to cover it. And when they're doing this, doesn't it make you think that it was them? Because they did steal funds from users. So they're no better than the people that stole funds from them. They did issue a BTX coin overnight, giving the value back to you of the coins they took from you. They took all of your Ethereum. They took about a third of your Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin that you're holding, and they gave you back this worthless coin that everyone started selling, and that dropped in price drastically. So we see the type of things, the type of business that Bitfinex runs, and you know, now that they're run by the same people, Tether is run by the same people. It's a disaster waiting to happen, and it is a possibility that Bitfinex was hacked internally by the people that own it, run it, as an attempt to take their users' funds. And then same thing with Tether. Is it not a coincidence that they both got hacked and both for $50 million? And you know, about a year after Bitfinex got hacked, Tether got hacked. Maybe they were running out of money. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just saying there's some possibilities out there for sure. That's what it looks like at this point. Until we get more information, that's the only information we have to go off of. Bitcoin's biggest competitor isn't Ethereum, it's this. So just a side note, there was an article here that is basically saying Litecoin was a competitor to Bitcoin, and then the Litecoin Foundation said, although it's good to have some exposure on major media, we don't believe Litecoin is the biggest competitor for Bitcoin. Bitcoin and Litecoin will have different focuses. Litecoin will definitely focus more on payments. And then the last thing that we want to share with you today is the exponential growth of Bitcoin. So, side note, so I got this Ghosteries and this free VPN here to make my browser more secure yesterday. But if we look at, let's go to CoinMarketCap. Look at Bitcoin's chart. And you'll see very clearly that it's grown exponentially. And then we'll compare it to when we're reading this article. We're going to probably need this chart. Okay. So it's going down slightly, Bitcoin, even during this live stream, as well as Ethereum, not at that $500 mark anymore. So we've talked about this a couple times, but it's grown more in 1 year than it grew in the past 9 years or so. So that is what exponential growth is. It means that it takes less time to grow way more now. And this is usually what an exponential curve looks like. And then it just goes up, 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 and then almost straight up it could go. Or at least it looks like it's straight up when you look at you stand back and look at it. You know, there are ups and downs throughout it, the whole thing, but that's exponential growth. So Bitcoin dominates. This is an article from MIT Technology Review. The cryptocurrency market is growing exponentially. Bitcoin dominates over other digital currencies today, but the data suggests its market share will drop significantly in the next few years. When it comes to the future of money, there is a growing consensus that cryptocurrencies are set to play a major role. One cryptocurrency in particular has entered the public lexicon as the go-to digital asset, Bitcoin. But the cryptocurrency market is significantly more complex than the public lexicon might suggest. And while there have been plenty of studies examining the role and future of Bitcoin, there have been few that explore the broader cryptocurrency market and how it is evolving. Today, that changes thanks to the work of Abir El-Bahari at City University in London, and a few pals who have examined the cryptocurrency market as a whole and say that it is significantly more complex and mature than many had thought. The evolution of this market even bears a remarkable similarity to the evolution of ecosystems in many other areas, providing some insight into the way the cryptocurrency market might change in the future. So this guy's done some research here. He's not just talking out of his ass. First, some background. The big challenge with digital currency is to prevent unauthorized copying. Cryptocurrencies use two mechanisms to prevent this. The first is to publish every transaction in a public record and store numerous copies of this ledger online in a way that allows them to be automatically compared and updated. This prevents double spending, using the same Bitcoin to buy two different things. And the more people that are on the network, the more secure the network is. The second mechanism is to protect the ledger cryptographically. Every update collects together a range of new transactions and adds them to the existing ledger. But to do this, the earlier version of the ledger is first frozen and encrypted. The new version of the ledger, called a block, includes the encrypted copy of the ledger. Anybody can use this encrypted data to generate a number that can be used to check the veracity of the block. However, it is extremely hard to generate this number computationally. In an attempt to game the system, it is this feature that the blocks are easy to check but extremely hard to copy. That secures the system. So we'll go down a bit because we know how Bitcoin works. So he and co-analyzed the behavior of 1,500 cryptocurrencies that have emerged since 2013 and say that some 600 of them are actively traded today. They say this market has recently entered a period of exponential growth and is currently worth 54 billion. By comparison, the total amount of money in the world is about 60 trillion. But while this cryptocurrency market is growing rapidly, this guy and co show that certain aspects of it are stable. For example, the number of active cryptocurrencies has remained about the same since 2013 and has the market share distribution which follows a well-known power law. The team also shows how this distribution can be reproduced using a standard model of evolution in which they plug in figures for the rate at which currencies emerge and die away. This power law distribution occurs in a wide range of systems. For example, the same law describes the size of religions, of languages, and even wars by number of deaths. In none of these systems is there any favored religion or language or war, but all things being equal, they all form this type of distribution. Now, the adoption of cell phones is growing exponentially, and it almost looks exactly like the Bitcoin chart. The fact that size distribution of cryptocurrencies follows the same law is significant. It implies that, as far as the market is concerned, all currencies are essentially the same. The fit with the data shows that there is no detectable population level consensus on what is the best currency, or that different currencies are advantageous for different uses, says this man in his company. Whether that is true is up for debate. Various critics have pointed out a number of technical limitations associated with Bitcoin, and this has inspired a new generation of cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum. Whether this will influence the market remains to be seen. While this exponential growth is ongoing, Bitcoin's market share is falling. The top 5 biggest currencies, Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, Dash, and Monero, now account for 20% of the market. And the trend for Bitcoin is clear. This would predict Bitcoin market share to fluctuate around 50% by 2025, says the team. So that's not that bad though. So basically they're saying that, you know, Bitcoin dominance will be around 50% in the year 2025. So, you know, we've seen it almost hit there already. So, you know, it's not going to be that drastic of a change, but again, what this is pointing out is basically that these other cryptocurrencies are gaining dominance slowly. So maybe this is also why there's an attempt to, you know, use Bitcoin Cash and have most of the money put into Bitcoin Cash rather than other random cryptocurrencies. You know, maybe they've done this research as well, or seen this research and said, hey, why don't we create the currency that all this money is going into, rather than it going into someone else's pocket? Because that could be the case. That's what it looks like right now. If that happens, a lot of the money from Bitcoin will be moving into Bitcoin Cash. I do not see anytime soon the public getting on Monero or Dash. Like, yeah, the public, a certain percentage of the public will get on Dash, Monero maybe, but they have certain use cases, and they're not really mainstream coins at this point. But Bitcoin Cash seems to be going in that direction of becoming a mainstream coin, especially that it has the advantage of everybody owning it, or at least have traded it because they got it for free for owning Bitcoin. So, you know, there's this whole economy that we have to look at. We really sometimes need to look at the data and what it tells us. Another factor in the market is that cryptocurrencies aren't used only as currency. Bitcoin is also widely used for speculation and can also be used for non-monetary uses such as timestamping. So I encourage anybody to start using Bitcoin more that wants it to succeed long term. You can start using it for many things that you're not using it for right now. You can almost have all the things you buy cash with, you could be spending cryptocurrencies on. And if you do this, you are doing your part to have it become more successful, mainstream, and stay successful. If we don't do this, another cryptocurrency is going to come along and take that role, because it will be more user-friendly, more easier, and basically people will be told to use it. So if Bitcoin is what you want to see be used, start using it. For many of these applications, there is a clear benefit to having a single currency that everyone agrees on. While the use of cryptocurrencies as speculative assets should promote diversification, their adoption as payment method, i.e. conventional use of a shared medium of payment, should incentivize a winner-take-all regime. But experience with other ecosystems suggests that this by no means certain to happen. For example, a single computer operating system has never been able to outcompute all others, regardless of the ruthlessness of its deployment. And neither has any human language or religion or fashion wiped out all others. So, Bitcoin Cash, I'm sorry, but you can't, and most likely won't wipe out Bitcoin or all other cryptocurrencies and be the last man standing. A little side note though, saying here, for example, a single computer operating system has never been able to outcompute all others. Did you know that all of the Bitcoin mining computational power in the world is greater than all the supercomputers in the world? And these supercomputers are supposed to be so much more powerful than a computer, you know, and still many computers together can outpower those supercomputers, those quantum computers. That is not to say it can't happen, but unless there's a significant external manipulation of this market, Bitcoin Cash, the likelihood is that there will be significant diversity in the cryptocurrency market for the foreseeable future. The reason I said Bitcoin Cash is because they are definitely trying to externally manipulate the market. Definitely, without a doubt. Okay, so what does that mean with Bitcoin? I made a bet with my younger brother last night. We're supposed to, we haven't locked it in yet, but we're guessing on what the price will be of Bitcoin by spring next year. So the first day of spring. And I'm sure there's a mathematical equation to do this. I do know that I saw some data that shows that if you take, it probably would have been done though around $5,000, so it probably changed. But when this was done, if you average, basically create the medium of the rise in Bitcoin over all the time that it's existed, it's risen, it's doubled every 4 months. But that is on average, right? So that doesn't really help predict the future because you can't use the past to predict the future when it's exponentially growing. You can't use what it's grown in the past to then apply to the future and grow it that much. You have to use exponential algorithms. So we'll look into finding that algorithm to do this precisely. But I'd like to know your comments below what you think Bitcoin will be the first day of spring in 2018. So what I'm thinking is that if Bitcoin can, let's just make it easy for math's sake and say 10 years it took to get to $1,000. And then it took 1 year to get to it from $1,000 to $10,000. So that means that it should take next time 1/10 of that, so just over a month. That's exponential growth. So it should take just over a month. And so let's give ourselves some room and say 2 months into 2018, as long as this price doesn't drop drastically and we see that $10,000 is about the consolidation price up until about, into December, then we can pretty safely estimate that if we follow this pattern of exponential growth, that this will multiply 10 times by 2 months into January, meaning Bitcoin will be at $100,000 and it won't even be spring yet. So I was safe with my guess last night, and I was just guessing. I said $50,000. Now, applying a little bit of math to it, it's not perfect math. It looks like it's more than that. So let me know in the comments below whether you think I'm, being, too hopeful. But I'm going to lock in my price probably at $50,000 just to be safe. I'm not saying that I think it's going to be at $100,000. I'm just saying that's what the trend suggests. So let's see. Time will tell. We'll see you on the next video, guys. I'm Crypto Keith, and I'm out.